All right, Rollerbladers, we have a very special guest today, Justin Thursday. You've probably heard of him if you haven't. He has been designing incredible 3D printed products for many years now. Most recently, well, I'm going to link to all his information in the description, so make sure to go check it all out. But my first experience with Justin Thursday design product was the Faction V1 sole plate that came on the Faction Tactical V1. And then most recently, the Faction Stealth sole plate. Mike McFly / Flubbo's X Thursday collab cult sole plates. I got to see those up close and personal too, which are super rad. But today we're going to be talking about the new IQON AG60C and the IQON AG60 White. So Justin Thursday, man, thank you for jumping on, my friend.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I guess my first question is these are based off the T60Rs, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, basically that was the first full scalable design that I really liked. I designed it for me in the way I skated, so I didn't really have to change a whole lot. Aside from making it work as a standalone frame, because the T60R was a wall for the 50/50 core system on the Prime 2.
Right.
Prime 2? Nope, core system 2, Prime frame.
Gotcha. So what was the original, because this T60R has been around for how long now that you've been making it?
Around 2 years, maybe getting close to 3 at this point.
Yeah.
I can't remember when the whole core frame market started exactly.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, because I was creeping. I'm like, wow, he's been doing this for quite some time. So what was the original sort of inspiration for the profile, the silhouette? What was that? Where did that kind of come from originally?
Yeah. So I've been skating flat, or had been skating flat for probably 10 years, and still never found that perfect flat frame.
Sure.
So that was the first priority for me, was making a good flat frame. Basically, there's a number of things you want in a flat frame: kind of a shallow, tight groove, a decent wheel split, and then a little bit of wheel bite protection. But sure, I didn't really like the way that a lot of wheel bite protection looked, so I kind of tried to, blend it in with the aesthetic of the frame. You can kind of see how it does go down in the middle there, but then on the outside of the wall, it's straight across. And basically what that creates is, a good bevel that's going to protect the wheels a little bit, but also not cause you to wash out when you're carving and everything. Because that's one drawback about some flat frames, is like, you're good for grinding, but the whole point of skating flat is rolling. You want a good ride. So that's kind of the basis of it there.
Yeah. And so what, because actually when I first, what are your thoughts on the Kaiser Fluid 5s?
I wish I had gotten to skate a set, because, aside from my own frame, like I said, I designed it for myself, so that's going to be my preference, but that looks like one of the better flat frames around, because it's got that tight groove, a little bit of wheel bite protection. Yeah, the Fluid 5 looks like a really good frame to me.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I'm typically I'm a dirty, nasty anti-rocker skater, but typically, or the times I have skated the Fluid 5, I've really enjoyed it. And this gives me some just loose sort of vibes of the sort of gradual wheel bite, the things you were saying earlier, nice tight groove, some kind of wheel bite protection that's not so. I did want to kind of ask you, because you mentioned you didn't really like the look of the wheel bite protection in the past, or with other frames. What was, I guess, what can you clarify on that, or can you expand on that?
Yeah, it just kind of looks like, I'm not going to call any frame out, but it just kind of looks like an afterthought add-on tumor, like they designed a frame first and then decided to cover the wheels.
Right.
The bigger issue than that is that it would often be too wide. So you would spend a couple of sessions breaking that in. Like, I've literally just done Unity set slides and UFO set slides in concrete to get that out of the way, because it'll be nice on the inside of the wheels, but if it's on the outside of the wheels too, well, then that kind of lessens the rolling experience, which is kind of important.
Sure. Yeah. every time I ride flat, which is pretty infrequent, but every time I do, I'm always like, why did I ever stop doing this? But one of my buddies, Will, friend of the channel here, I think he might be in chat, but he just got a pair of these, the carbon ones, and says that he skated Fluid 5s, he skated Wish frames, and he says these are incredibly good.
Awesome.
So,
glad to hear it.
Exciting. I was it was kind of cracking me up because obviously Dave from Wheel Scene, IQON gave him a pair, and I was looking through his stories, and he was having a real hard time getting the middle wheels in. Is it just the stiffness of the frame, or the tolerances, or all of the above?
Yeah, it's the stiffness of the frame. So with injection molding, you're always going to have a certain amount of shrinkage when it comes out of the mold.
Sure.
Completely unavoidable. You know, typically I'm a mechanical designer professionally, so there's a lot of ways that you have to design a mold and a molded part to prevent that shrinkage. And with aggressive skate parts, because so many of the areas have to be thick, it's unavoidable. And the thickest part of the frame is the grind block.
Sure.
So what happens is that plastic pulls in a little bit, and it causes the walls to be a little tight. My sample frames, I don't have productions yet. They'll be here next week. But my sample frames, I was hammering the middle wheels in. But once I did that, it kind of broke them in, and now I can get them in and out by hand. So I think it's just going to be that first go that's going to be a challenge.
You got to earn it on your first one.
Yeah.
I like it, dude. So they are rockerable too. I just want to make sure we cover all our bases on here. So they are rockerable. Are the T6, probably a dumb question, you can't rock? Okay, no.
So the T60R, the R stands for rockered. So it just is rockered. That's how that frame is. You know, I did eventually start doing some upgraded versions on the TK series. TK stands for Thursday Kit, because that was a multi-piece frame.
Sure.
Yeah, those guys there. The TK60RF, FR, one of those, it had rockerable spacers, but they were really expensive. Like I had to charge $10 or $15 more for that frame. So for most of my frames, it's just set, because I prefer rockered, but I know a lot of people don't. And for just some spacers, you can have both. Like I wouldn't want to take a rockered frame to a bowl or a vert ramp or a mega ramp.
Right.
So you can just pop your wheels out, switch the spacers around.
I got you. And so, yeah, with these, is it I can't remember, is it how many millimeter rocker was it for the?
1 millimeter. Yep.
1 millimeter. Okay.
Yep. Nothing crazy, just enough to be able to swivel around and stuff.
Yeah. It's always super fun. I love watching people do the swivelies and
I know.
Like Michael Kraft, dude. Every time I watch him, I absolutely love it. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start doing that, and then my lazy ass never does, bro.
I've been skating the rockered frames for years now, and I just can't find a swivelly inspiration. Like I'll do some little skids and whatnot, but yeah, I'm not that good at it. But I like just having the maneuverability just for skating around.
Absolutely, yeah. I always question why I ride Antirocker every time Wildco has a question here. Any chance we get a nylon Antirocker frame that does not use the prime core? By the way, you should be able to, if you can't see the chat right now, you should, on your StreamYard interface, you you be able to change the chat from private on the right hand side.
Over to comments. Cool. Got it. Thanks. By who? By Kaiser? By 50/50?
I would assume he's maybe asking a Justin Thursday design, maybe.
You know, I don't skate Antirocker,
right.
And I don't think in general we're lacking good Antirocker frames. You know, I don't like to design something unless there's a need for it. You know, there's nothing wrong with the Featherlight, the Fluid 4, and plenty of others. I think they're all great Antirocker frames.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't see a hole in that market to fill.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely agree with that.
It would just be doing it to do it, and yeah, I don't think I could add anything to that.
Yeah. If this is just a random question that sort of occurred to me, if you couldn't skate any of your own frames, what frame would you skate if you could only pick one?
I'd like to try the Featherlight 4. I think those look pretty good. I'd like to skate the Fluid 5.
Oh, the Featherlight 4. Yeah, okay, yeah.
CRS are my other favorite frame, and actually stock primes. I love that stock wall. It's kind of a big groove, but it worked for me 60 flat.
Yeah, I skated the Featherlight 4s recently, and love them.
Yeah, cool.
And
yeah, I haven't gotten to do grinds in over 2 years now. I had a bilateral knee sprain at work a couple of years ago, so I still roll around a few times a month. I need to get serious and try to do PT again to get back to it, because I haven't done a grind on my Faction Souls. I haven't done a grind on my IQON frames. It's a bummer.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
So this is why, I'm like reaching out to people, how do you like this? What's all of that?
Yeah. Okay. What else? We have, I'm pushing my stream deck. And we also have this fun, kind of customizable back insert here, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that was Umberto's idea.
Yeah.
Because with the quality of the materials they use now, they were like looking for anywhere to cut out material. Like if you look on the inside of the frame, there's some hollowed out sections. It was like just to shave weight wherever they could. And because they had that open area in there, they're like, let's cut a logo in there and let's put a little panel behind it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Someone mentioned, I always forget, I think it may be Sean. Someone mentioned throwing like a glow stick in there with like a semi-clear, little insert or something. That'd be kind of funny.
I don't know if I'll ever get around to it, but I really want to develop a vibration activated LED module.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever do it, but it's kind of like, that'd be fun.
That would be fun. That'd be super cool. Okay, what else do we need to know about the frames? We got the white ones are carbon injected. Am I saying that right?
The white ones are glass filled, so that's your traditional, power slide plastic, which I think is some of the best. It's really hard, slides fast, it's rigid. Absolutely. And then the black ones are carbon filled.
Right. I totally mixed that up. Yeah. So glass filled. And so the prices also reflect that. So at least here on Disroyal. And I noticed so these are also available on Whoosh. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Whoosh skates.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, shops are getting them in. I know Oak City has them now. I think they just landed, or they will soon. So
I'm sure the prices vary a little bit from vendor to vendor, but at least here
a little bit.
So
because I think on the website there, it's converted from euros, so that might not reflect the price in the US.
Okay, because of our shipping or whatever else.
Right.
We'll see if Long has a pair.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're on there.
Yeah, I guess I'll just AG60. So where did the relationship first start? Well, actually, before I get there, $80 for the white ones, the glass filled, and then just about 100 for the carbon ones. And actually, before we get too far ahead of that, the carbon filled ones slide faster, last longer, stiffer. I mean, am I on the right track here?
Yep, all of it. Yeah, even I've rolled around a handful of times, and the responsiveness, just rolling carbon around a little bit, I think it's noticeable.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, a little more responsive.
Sure. And at the end of the day, if you're paying $20 more for a friend that's going to last you longer,
right?
Then cool. So just for our listeners, our watchers, these are available on Oak City. We're over here right now for our US based homies. Okay, and then all right, I think we've pretty well covered the frame. Anything else? Any other tidbits that our viewers would enjoy?
Yeah, let me see. I know people have had questions over the sizing, so I could probably go over that real quick. Small, medium, and large. So we've got 3 sizes. The reason I went for 3 sizes, I think it's really important to be able to get a good wheelbase when you're skating something rockered. Traditionally frames are 250 and 270.
Yep.
So I bumped up those sizes a little bit because if you're skating rockered, you want a little bit more stability for when you're really getting into carves and swivels and all of that. So that's why that sizing might seem odd, and that's the only reason, just to give a little bit extra length for a little more stability there.
Gotcha. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. So max wheel size. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you're good. Yeah, max wheel size is 60 millimeters. It is specifically designed around a round profile 60 millimeter wheels. That doesn't mean you can't use other wheels. Like I think a flat profile 58 would be fine, because the whole idea here, see how it's kind of hard to line this up, but the way that bevel is, you can see it just kind of clears the wheel there. So basically, if you had a bullet profile, you'd be far more likely to wash out in carves, or if you wanted to skate 56s. I think other flat frames are better for a 56, but yeah, around 60 flat, like, the squared off profile 58s. I think those are all good choices.
Do you have a favorite wheel?
Yeah, 50/50 wheels. Yeah, they're really, really good. Chroma too. It's the same compound.
Sure.
Other than that, I like UCs. I skated those for 10 years, and I only switched because I could get 50/50s pretty easily. UC kind of sell out fast, and 50/50 just always has them in stock.
I got you.
And they're great wheels.
I did kind of want to ask where the relationship sort of began with IQON. How did that sort of, or what was the impetus for that?
I just got an email from Matthias one day. He's like, "Hey, we like what you're doing. We want to see if we can come up with a project." He threw out a couple of things that he'd seen me do, some ideas. I'm like, well, let's start with a frame, because that's what I've done the most. So it's like, it would be really cool to get this in just, traditional UFS plastic frame, not needing to buy into the 50/50 core system and all of that. It can add up quick if you're not fully invested. The prime is $120. And at the time, you couldn't get the core on its own. You had to buy the full frame and then get the walls. So, all in, you're coming close to $200 with shipping. Now you can get the core on its own or order it with printed walls, which is nice. But yeah, I wanted to design a frame, so that's where we started. We may have some other stuff coming up later, maybe in the next year or two. Talked back and forth quite a bit, but yeah, he just reached out and I was like, let's do it.
That's amazing. I love that. That speaks to, I think that speaks to your reputation in the community. So, and then same thing really with faction here, dude. These were when the factions were first unveiled. I know there was such a polarization of the airplane wings back here,
contentious.
But honestly, I love it. So what was the inspiration for the fact? Because I love them, dude. I skate the crap out of my factions. I'm on the Stelzil play right now.
Awesome.
What was the inspiration for, I guess, the profile? All of it with the V1s here.
Yeah, so all of the design aspects were Clark's ideas for the tactical and the Stelzil. All his idea. I just kind of, put it together for him, get the model together so you get him made. But the idea was Clark loved the K2 Nemesis, the transfer, that had that nice squared off back for doing rough grinds.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of liked rough grinds, so I was like, cool, let's design that in. And the positive is a little wide, but it doesn't overhang off the side of the boot too much. I know you've talked about it. The sole plate fits the boot well, I think.
I agree.
It's got a nice wide groove.
It's funny because I actually hadn't even really noticed this until like a few days ago. I was talking with my buddy Mike, and I was like, holy crap, hold on, man. Like, this gives me heavy faction, vibes of their V1. So no, that's cool. That's super cool. And I love to see your little logo on there on both of these too. So
I like to sign my work.
I love it, man. I love it. It gives a character, and for what it's worth, I really like the font too. I don't know. This is just kind of a side tangent, but I don't know. It's clean.
I think that's Futura, which might be an Apple font.
Yeah, it's
just what I use on everything. I like it.
Yeah, it looks very clean. I like it. So question from Mr. Spook Wackadoo. What was the inspiration for a banana rocker on 60 millimeter?
Yeah, so I used to skate high-low frames a lot, and I liked when the middle ones ended up being a little bit bigger. You know, you think of a Wish, you know, they have a whole comprehensive chart on how to get whatever kind of rocker you want out of the frame, and I didn't want to have to think about wheel sizes. So I was like, you know, I've been skating 60 millimeter for 10 years or whatever, flat. So I was like, let's just do that, but with a rocker.
Yeah.
Simple, you know, eight 60 millimeter wheels. And the other nice thing, you know, with something like a high-low setup, you can't rotate the wheels the way you're supposed to, you know, 1 to 3, 2 to 4, 180 them. You couldn't do that with high-low. So I wanted to simplify that. Just all 4 wheels the same size. You can treat them just like any other frame. Because depending on how you're skating, you know, you can get some odd wear. Your middle wheels could wear down faster, where typically your toe and heel wear down faster. Or if you typically wear down your toe and heel wheels, you know, you might wear things evenly. But either way, wheels need rotated every so often. So now it's, you know, you don't have to think about it. You just do it like you normally would do it.
Yeah, I like that. Makes it a lot more straightforward. Yeah, Will here got his. Actually, that's the picture I posted up yesterday. Actually, Will's Factions. Will's Factions with the the new AG60s on there.
Yeah, it's a good looking setup.
It is, man. I asked him, I was like, dude, I don't know if you want to keep this under wraps or not, but but can I share it? And he's like, yeah, absolutely, go ahead. So thank you, Will, for that. But I mean, just to me, looks fantastic. And I love, and it's actually just now, embarrassingly, it's like we have both. I mean, let me know if I'm wrong, actually. I mean, as far as actual products through other companies, are there anything other than the Stelso Plate V1 and the frame now that you've kind of collaborated with directly?
Kind of. So when the Prime frame came out, I redesigned the Freestyle Walls for 50/50. So it's kind of like a Gen 2, but it's still only available as 3D printed. But that is a 50/50 wall. You know, I don't own the design anymore. That belongs to them.
Got it.
So yeah.
Okay.
That
cool.
Kind of counts.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. But this is satisfying seeing your frame on the Soul Plate. You also
it's kind of wild.
That's pretty cool, man. That just actually kind of hit me on this picture. So no, it looks great, man. Super pumped.
Yeah, and since Will's saying that they lock so well, I actually wouldn't mind talking about the groove a little bit.
Sure.
So I was talking about how, you know, a flat frame typically wants a nice tight groove in there, because that's what keeps you away from your wheels on ledges and rails and whatever. Better than anything, better than wheel protection is just a kind of shallow groove there. But when you are skating ledges, you know, you kind of wearing your frame into this natural shape. And same with the T60R. The philosophy here is breaking in frame sucks. You know, you do it wrong, you can kind of be unhappy with the groove for a while. So the philosophy there was to make the edges pre-broken in.
Sure.
So basically, because if you ever notice, once you break in a frame, it kind of holds it for a while.
Sure.
And that's because you're knocking down all those high edges with less material. And once you get here, you've got all this surface area on the edge of your ledge or whatever. So that was the idea, is to be able to, if you're upright, to be able to keep your wheels away from the obstacle. And then when you're in your groove, you've got that nice, natural, curvy shape to where a broken frame would already be, you know, after a dozen sessions or so.
Yeah.
And then what that also does is prolongs the life of the frame, because rather than grooving it weird or anything, you've got all this surface area contacting at one time and basically holding that groove shape. Like, you know, a couple of people had mentioned they were worried about trying to break these in, especially the carbon.
Sure.
It's like, no, these are good to go right away. Skate park, ledges, whatever. It should feel good and familiar, like it's been broken in. So
yeah,
that was the idea there.
Yeah, I love. Let's go ahead and skip the break-in part and just get to the good part.
Yeah, we don't need to be breaking anything in anymore.
Our buddy Tree Rudolph. Question: how does Justin Thursday look younger than the last time I saw him 7 years ago?
I think I'm washed out a little bit here. That's probably what's going on.
I have a filter. This Sony, I guess, has like a little bit of a filter to soften skin tones over on my side. So that's how I stay youthful, is my camera.
Nice.
Stigs, all caps. Why do we have so many ways to set up wheels, yet they wear down to even? I'm not sure. Stigs.
Yeah, everything wears down.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like my life philosophy. Everything wears down.
Yeah, nothing's forever.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through. Wyoko Booter, is the carbon or glass-filled ones stiffer for putting wheels in, or are they the same? We kind of talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, the carbon will be harder.
Dave Quist, did Justin work on the standard skate with Law?
No, not at all. Just never came up.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a pair though. They look great.
Yeah.
Little sneak shots I've seen, and me and Law are friends, so I've seen a little extra stuff.
Yeah. I just noticed your tattoo on your hand there, the RB tattoo.
Oh yeah.
That's dope. What's your favorite pair of Arbys ever?
How do I pick just one? The detail. I mean, the original detail, the second detail, both the Stios. Yeah, I just loved. I don't know maybe it's nostalgia. I'm not that nostalgic of a person, but that skate with open flaps and puffy liners.
Oh yeah.
Something about it. I'll still skate those every once in a while.
Oh yeah. You are talking about the second details you mentioned?
Yeah.
These were my first, after my K2s, which were my first real pair. I guess I had 250s. These were my first pair of after that. And so I also have a very strong sense.
They might have been my first UFS skate, actually.
I guess I could probably say the same thing. Huh. Yeah, man. I love that you said that, because I was secretly hoping you were going to say like some skin tiaras.
I really like the downtowns too.
Yeah, I never did skate those. There was like between the downtowns and I can't remember what the other ones were, but like it seemed like, because I went out of rollerblading for like 10 years when I went into the military.
Oh yeah.
And so I came back, and now that I'm back, I'm like, holy cow, how many pairs of downtowns or these like sort of partially hybrid skinned where the cuff is exposed. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like I see that we go on eBay sometimes and like troll around, and like, I'm like, dude, there's so many of these for sale all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd come back to the downtown or the detail all the time, and like, oh, I want a pair of these again. $50.
Right. Yeah. They're just, you can just pick some up on the street corner, I feel like. Okay, I'm gonna look for a couple more questions. Judas says, question: how did Justin get involved with all these brands? We talked a little bit about IQON, I guess. Faction, I don't know if we covered that. How you got involved with that?
Kind of the same story. Clark reached out to me and said, hey, I'm looking to design a sole like this, and we just got started on it. Yeah, pretty simple.
Yeah,
nothing
very cool.
Too fancy.
When did you first?
I reached.
Oh no, go ahead.
I think I probably reached out to Law about work on 50/50, because I always listen to like his Gear Talk podcast and all of that. And yeah, that's what it was. I remember they were talking about the original core frame, and I could tell like definitively that he was finally going to bring it back. So I think I reached out to him right away, and it's like, how can I help?
Right.
And then,
I was
able to kind of help develop the core frame market and a bunch of stuff like that, do a lot of testing on figuring out how to put the CDK, the core developer kit, together. That was a really cool project. That was my first big, I guess, inline project with all of this kind of stuff.
Core. Okay. Sorry, man. I'm not familiar. CDK. Can you, for someone?
Yeah. So
is it on the core market?
Back a little bit.
Sure.
A while back, they had released the 50/50 core frame. That's aluminum core, replaceable walls. And the dream was always to open that up to other companies and stuff like that. But, 50/50 slowed down. Law brought it back. And when he released the core system 2, because it's upgraded, it's different, it's higher quality, everything about it's better than the old one. his idea was to open source it. So the CDK is the core developer kit. You can go on, I think, any of the websites, because I know he's doing some website stuff now, so I don't know where it is now. It might be on 5050frames.com. But you download all the CAD files, templates, examples of frame walls, and things like that. So anybody can just go and download this stuff, use Fusion 360, which you can get for free, and design a frame wall. So yeah, I helped put all of that together. And then the core frame market is where you can go and purchase developers like me. There's a handful on there. You can get their 3D printed walls and throw them on your core system.
Yep, very cool, very cool. That's weird. Coreframemarket.com. I guess maybe it's down right now.
Yeah, so I think he rolled that into 5050frames.com or is working on that or something. He talked about that recently.
Okay, yeah, here it looks like here's
okay, yep.
Here's all the fun stuff. Cool. Yeah, cool, man. These are interesting. Boonies. Cool. I'm gonna take another quick look. Spook says, let's start with a frame. I think he's referring to IQON. I was going to ask too, let's start with a frame. What's next? You did lead us on a little bit. Any clues?
Too early to say.
Yeah.
Too early to say. Yeah.
We got to ask.
One project I'm currently helping with, and then there's a couple other conversations about what we might do, but it takes a long time. So I don't want to say something and then it's 2 years later, maybe something happens,
Oh, fair enough. Looking for some questions here. Questions? Any plans for a 3D printed boot? Have you ever thought about doing a boot?
I'd like to do one just for fun. I can't remember who's doing it. Casual Tricks, something like that on Instagram. I'm gonna get that wrong, but he's printing boots out of TPU.
There's
one other guy in DIY Skate Tech is a Facebook page that me and Claudio Antonelli run. It's just all that kind of stuff, people making their own skate parts. Yeah, him. I think he's printing Solomon clone boots.
Oh, I think I missed him. Was he?
No, it looks like someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to find it.
It's all good. Yeah, I've seen that before.
Are you in the DIY Skate Tech group on Facebook?
I am not. My Facebook is all jacked up. Claudio.
Well, anyway, yeah. There's a few people doing it. They're testing stuff out, and it seems like it's working. So I'd love to try it at some point, but it takes a lot of time to design a boot.
It's Casal Tricks. Yeah, no, I hear you. That would be cool. What's kind of the idea behind a 3D? Here we go. Okay, so the kind of structural integrity, durability, all of it. What are the considerations with a 3D printed boot versus something else? If that makes sense.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, 3D printing is layers. It's like, imagine a regular printer, but you're stacking sheets of paper. But in this case, it's basically a robotic hot glue gun laying down layer by layer. So the biggest obstacle with any kind of 3D printing is those layers breaking apart. Excuse me. That's been, kind of the hardest thing to overcome with all of this stuff. I think he's using a semi-flexible material called TPU, thermopolyurethane, and that stuff adheres really, really, really well. The issue that can come up with that is that it can be too flexible. So you've kind of got to find a hard one. You've got to design around the limitations of 3D printing. So yeah, it can be a pretty labor-intensive process. You can go through a lot of material to try to figure something out. I mean, you see that, like if that boot was made out of like, I don't know, PLA, which is the most common plastic, it would probably just shatter. So I don't think that's what he's using. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. No, that'd be super fun. So, I mean, really, I think you mentioned was just it'd be fun to kind of check the box, but would it be something that you'd want to actually, focus on for.
I can't really, test them the way I'd like to test them. If I was able to skate street like I used to, then I'd probably be way more interested to see how they'd hold up, because I skate the grittiest spots in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Thoughts on just kind of random here, because I'm looking at these Solomon replicas, I guess. What do you think about Solomons?
Oh, they're one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yep. The ST8 and the 9, though, I didn't really love anything after that because it was too hard. The ST8s and 9s were like a softer material. And I don't need a whole ton of ankle support. I like to flex my ankles really good.
Yeah.
So that one right there. And I put carbon soles on it. I designed a sole plate for Stefan Brando a while back. That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, very cool. These are some of my favorite. I never had these. I don't think any. My buddy Mike probably had a pair, but I love the brown. I love the Pat Ritters, and I embarrassingly didn't realize that they were kind of based on these.
Yeah.
Until
because I think
later.
those ST8s came with the tan parts too.
Yeah.
What Ritter's got? Yeah, Ritter's got the tan accents. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks clean.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for the blue ones though.
Oh yeah, are those which ones are those?
ST8s. Yeah, they came out at the same time. Back when they would release skates in 2 colors.
Yeah, that's what keeps confusing. I'm like, okay, what's the blue one now? No, it's still an ST.
Yep. Same skate, just a different color.
Yeah.
Or one might have been. I think it's the same skate. The ST9, I think, was like the higher end one that had the heat moldable liner, and the 8 didn't have the heat moldable liner or something like that.
Yeah. Stick says, question, what about Moocs?
What about them?
Yeah. I don't know. I know that Flubbo, Matt with Flubbo is making the Fuchs on the 50. Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of freestyle type options out there.
Right. I think
the freestyle wall that I designed for 50/50, it's not, too dissimilar to a Mooc frame. It's just got a little bit of a groove in the middle.
Right. I wish I hadn't closed it down here, but I know I personally skated the Fuchs, and man, I tell you what, freestyle frames, they might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's just like, it's hard not to put a smile on your face just goofing off with some like
every once in a while I'll snag a pair of Moocs and put them on stock Solomons.
Yeah.
And I think that's because Jeff Stockwell made it look so cool before like shadow boots fully came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fun to just go and do a few royales on.
Yeah. It's just
rolling up to the ledge is horrible, but
yeah, it's not
I've got nothing against Antirocker. I just can't do it personally. I feel glued to the ground.
You feel glued to the train tracks, you're saying? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah.
It's not for me.
Warlock skating, any plans to make H-block middle wheel inserts for 5-wheel frames like the monkey blocks? The IQON.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
For, why is it escaping me right now? Oh my goodness, it's totally escaping my brain, and it shouldn't be. I've got a set right upstairs. But yeah, somebody had a 5-wheel aluminum frame, and we developed a H-block to replace the middle wheel. So that exists. I feel really bad that I'm spacing on who that is.
It's all good, man. That's the live stream life. Everything everything I know goes out the window.
Yep.
I was creeping earlier, and I was trying, where to go? These, man. Oh yeah. I remember when these came out, or I remember when these, because this was quite a while back. Holy cow, man! Is it K2 Alex? He's doing his own thing with his. Have you seen those? The crazy.
No.
Oh, you haven't. Okay, they're kind of like these, but not like a.
Is it the quad thing?
With K2 Alex, you're saying?
Yeah.
No, his are just like this.
Okay.
they're like basically Moocs for 125s.
Okay.
It's insane. The groove is much deeper because it's just one piece of plastic or whatever. What was sort of the inspiration for this?
So I think I did 3 or 4 of those big wheel blocks. None of them were my idea. It was people coming to me and they're like, "Hey, I really want to do grinds on my 3x125 setup." I'm like, "All right, fine, why not?" And, Kaiser has that. What is the Trimax 3x110, 3x125,
right?
And that's a plastic UFS frame. So that one's kind of like, why not put a block on that? That's the only thing it was missing for doing tricks.
Sure. So this is not what I was talking about at all. I've never seen these before, and I don't know what the hell's going on. It looks like an AI rendering or something. I don't know, but this is K2 Alex. I'm hoping. Oh, wait, what the hell am I? Oh, K2 Alex. So I just wanted to show you, just because I saw him skate these at Bitter Cold, the last Bitter Cold recently. It just keeps. I'm not good at this. How do I go to this profile? Whatever. But he has these Moocs on 125s, and they just look. They truly look like something out of video. There we go, out of a video game. But he shreds on them, dude. You'll get a good look. The groove
dang!
The groove is super close to the boot. It's
That's
pretty
so cool.
outrageous.
Like, I don't think I would be good at skating those, but I just think it's cool that people are doing it. Oh, yeah. Okay. I have seen that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I feel like this broke the internet when he first.
Yeah.
And then seeing him actually skate him in person is quite an experience. But okay. Tree says, and by the way, man, whenever you if you run out of time, just let me know and we'll wrap it up. But Tree says, Tree asks, I missed the JT tutorials and tech deep dives. Can we get more of those in some sort of fashion?
Yeah, probably. I want to do a lot of tutorials on how to make frames, soles, all of this. I've had all these plans to, go over settings, what materials to use, how to heat treat plastics to make them stronger and stuff like that. And it's just, I haven't been able to find the time for it, but it's on my mind. It's something I'd like to do.
Sean Michelson asks, how big of a role in blading do you think the DIY 3D printing will have? What does the blading industry look like to you in 10 years?
I don't know. I think we're just kind of another niche inside of a niche. I don't think it disrupts things too much, but I think it might influence things. Like, you could say it influenced Power Slide and Disroyal, because here I am just a DIYer and now I've designed one of their frames. So I think it's maybe more influence than being disruptive or anything like that.
Sure. Yeah, I like that.
I don't think that this DIY niche is big enough to put any kind of dent on the market. It's like, a lot of people use the Prime core system and all of that, but I don't think there's enough people doing it to really affect much other than maybe influence design, because you're going to see a lot more different designs now.
Sure. And and that's come up a couple of times. I think it was just I was cruising through, and you go cruising through the comments on Instagram or wherever, and there's always people with very strong opinions. Of course, this is rollerblading, and it's like, well, the 3D printers are gonna put everyone else out of business and this and that. And I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but it's just something we've talked about on stream before. But my biggest push is like, hey, if I don't care where the products come from necessarily. I mean, I do, but if it gets people skating and out having fun, enjoying themselves, and then perpetuating that to other people who then see them skating, and then it's ultimately should bring more money to the industry for everyone.
Yeah, I think so. It was just like a different fun thing to do. Like, I always kind of joke that I like playing with my skates just as much as I like using them.
Sure.
And this is just another way to play with tech.
Sure.
And anybody can get into it for not too much money. Designing stuff is practically free nowadays.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Okay, I'm going to do one last kind of look for questions here. Alex, how much did the car... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just trying to find this 5-wheel frame block. I know it's on my Insta, and I'm just not finding it. I feel bad that I forgot what it was, so I'm like determined.
Can you take a question?
Can I?
Yeah. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
How much? Oh, sorry. How much do the carbon frames weigh compared to the traditional plastic glass frames?
You know, I actually meant to check, but I don't think you're going to see much of a difference. They could be a few grams lighter because carbon is technically lighter than glass. For the injection compound, it is 30% on both. So could be a little lighter, but once you're skating, I don't think you'll ever notice the difference, especially because it's a flat frame. Your wheels weigh more than anything else. Yeah, it's negligible.
Sure.
I can get numbers later, though.
Yeah. For the cardio, what inspired you to use spacers in the IQON frame when your original design didn't really use them?
Well, so I had used rockable spacers before, but the only way I was able to get them was machined. And I want to say to order a couple hundred of them, it was like $2 a spacer.
Right.
So that adds cost pretty quickly.
Just
and
for
now
one.
these are, just for one of them. And you had to buy 200, 100, something like that. So, you know, I'm not rich or anything. That's a big investment for me. But yeah, so now, you know, Power Slide and Disroyal, they have awesome manufacturing networks and all of that. So they're able to just cast them out of some kind of, I want to say it's cast aluminum. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, it's just a lot easier when you're dealing with actual factories and way more affordable.
Sure. Yeah, you have the scale and everything. Cloud says, do you have a link for people wanting to get started in the 3D printing world? Where would you direct them, do you think?
I mean, there's a lot of resources. YouTube's been one of the better ones for me.
Sure.
I would just look up stuff, how to 3D print, how does this printer work? And then anytime, you know, once I got into it and I needed to learn something, I'd always kind of double or triple check what people were saying. Like, oh, I need to figure out how to do this thing with my printer. So I'd find 2 or 3 videos where they were saying the same thing. I was like, okay, that must be the right answer. But yeah, I mean, nothing specific. There's plenty of resources out there because it is all DIY, and DIY people love sharing their stuff. Most of the 3D printing world is open source. So pretty easy to get into and easy to find resources.
Yeah. It definitely seems like people are very, just like you said, pretty open with their design, open with the information. So, which is great.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Cool. So, hey, we went through, you know, a lot of stuff here, but the core of it here, no pun intended here, was the new IQON AG60 carbon, the black one, and the white in glass-filled injection mold one. Cool. So go check them out. I'll link to everything down below in the description where you can follow Just Thursday here. I have your Big Cartel site linked down below and the IQON frames. Anything else I should throw down there while we're at it?
See, I got did you say YouTube?
Oh no, I didn't. I'll put
that'll
your
be Justin Thursday. I've got all my tutorials on there. Bunch of handy information. A couple of little edits.
Yeah, sick. Okay, I'll throw that down.
I did find that frame though. So it's the rockin' frames, the 572.
Oh, the rockin' ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a good time.
Yeah. And honestly, as far as just cruising frames, 5x72 is so much fun because it has a little bit of a rocker. You're low to the ground, it's smooth, it's maneuverable. I love that frame.
I bet. I think 72 is a wonderful size.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, thanks, dude, for jumping on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Any just last second, anything that you wanted to maybe talk about that we didn't cover today?
Nothing's coming to mind.
Cool. All right. I just wanted to make sure to squeeze that in there. All right. Again, Just Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, go check out all this information down in the description below. Thanks for jumping on, man. And go buy the AG60s. So, cool, man. Thanks for jumping on. I'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.